Greetings, Earthlings! Today, my submission to you is regarding the craziness that's going on with AI-generated romances. In part, the information comes from much study, videos, books, all in the blog post that you can find at crazyogringo.mx. Give it a shot, crazyogringo.mx. Part of the story is, as always, about men who are opting out. They are leaving the United States behind and heading over, particularly to the Philippines. Why they're doing it? What's up with that? What's the explanation behind all that? You can find it in the blog post. It'll be a bit controversial because nobody wants to hear what the reality is. So give it a shot. I hope you enjoy.
All right, so today we're diving into something kind of wild. You ready for this? We're talking about falling in love with AI.
Falling in love with AI?
Yeah, like really falling head over heels.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm intrigued.
Right. So we've got this blog post someone sent in, and it's all about, like, ethics of AI relationships, you know? But then to add another layer, we're going to bring in this National Geographic documentary about people getting totally scammed by these online romances.
So we're looking at both sides of the coin here, the potential and the pitfalls.
Exactly. So think of this deep dive as like a mission to figure out if AI companions could actually be, you know, the real deal someday, or if we're all just setting ourselves up for a world of digital heartbreak.
Oh, I'm in. Let's do this.
Okay, so the blog post kicks off talking about these things called AI-created personas. Have you heard about these?
I have. Yeah, it's a fascinating concept.
Yeah, they're like digital companions, but instead of just like, you know, answering your questions or setting reminders, they're designed to be like your ideal partner.
Right, and it's all powered by these incredibly advanced language models, like GPT-3. They can hold a conversation, mimic human-like responses. It's really quite something.
Yeah, it's like they can create a whole personality, quirks and all, just for you.
It's brilliant when you think about it, tapping right into that very human need for connection. And in a world where so many people are feeling isolated, it's no wonder folks are turning to technology for that feeling of closeness.
Totally, but then you flip over to the documentary, and it's like, whoa, reality check. Suddenly you see those same desires, that vulnerability being exploited, but this time it's with these, like, elaborate romance scams.
Right, and it's interesting how both the blog post and the documentary touch on this idea of people seeking companionship, often from afar.
Yeah, like the blog post focuses on men finding connections overseas.
And the documentary shows how these scammers build these incredibly convincing online personas, often to target women.
And they're good. It's like they've got this whole playbook for deception.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Fake profiles with photos they've probably just, like, pulled from somewhere online. These sob stories that are carefully crafted to, you know, tug at your heartstrings. It's really another level of manipulation.
And the documentary does a great job of breaking down the mechanics of these scams, how they draw you in with emotion, build that trust, and then bam, suddenly there's some kind of crisis.
Yeah, like they need money for a sick relative or something.
Exactly. There's always some urgent reason they need your help, your financial help.
It's scary how effective it is. The documentary mentioned that over 6,400 Americans reported being scammed on dating sites in 2020 alone.
Yeah.
And that's just the ones we know about, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember, too, that while the documentary focused on women being targeted, these scams can happen to anyone.
That's a good point. It really challenges those assumptions we make about who's most susceptible.
Exactly. Anyone can be vulnerable. Anyone can crave connection. And these scammers are incredibly good at exploiting that.
Okay, but get this. The blog post actually argues that AI companions could be, like, a good thing. Like, they could offer that constant support, be tailored to, you know, your needs, even give you a safe space to, like, practice relationship stuff without the risk of actually getting hurt.
It's an interesting thought, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder if maybe there's something to it.
Right.
But the question is, can AI really provide those things long term? Remember that documentary? How easily we're drawn in by a performance? Even without AI, we fall for it.
Totally. It's like our brains are wired for this.
Exactly.
And it makes me think about that scammer, what was his name? The Punisher. The documentary mentioned him,
Yeah.
and he actually claimed to have fallen for his victim.
Really?
Yeah, so it makes you wonder, like, can real feelings even develop in that kind of messed up situation?
That's the thing about humans, right? We're complicated.
Yeah.
Even someone capable of causing harm can still, you know, feel things, maybe even genuine things.
It's true.
Doesn't excuse it, obviously. The harm is still there.
No, for sure.
But it does make you think, as AI gets even more real, how do we know what's real and what's not? Especially when it comes to emotions, to connection. That's what we need to figure out.
And it gets even wilder, okay? The blog post says that AI companions, they're going to be even more real in the future.
More real.
Like, scarily real, to the point where it's hard to tell if you're dealing with, like, actual human or, just really good code.
I mean, we've already got those deepfake videos and stuff. It's hard enough to tell what's real anymore.
Right. It's kind of freaky, but also, a little exciting, don't you think?
It's like we're stepping into a science fiction novel, but it's really happening. AI that can read your emotions, know what you need before you do, maybe even offer a virtual shoulder to cry on. It's both fascinating and a little unnerving.
Totally. But that's what I keep thinking about, That documentary, it showed us how good these scammers are at playing on our emotions. And they're humans, right? So what happens when AI can do it even better?
It's a valid concern.
Remember that bit about the scammers using black magic rituals? I mean, that's wild, right?
It just goes to show you there's no limit to what people will try, especially when technology is involved.
Exactly. So, like, where does that leave us? If AI can create this illusion of connection, of love even, does it change how we view those relationships? Even if deep down you know it's not real in the traditional sense. Is it still real,
That's the question, isn't it? In a world where technology can create such convincing illusions, how do we protect ourselves from being fooled? More importantly, how do we hold on to what genuine connection actually means?
Yeah, it really makes you think.
It does. It's a conversation we need to keep having.
Totally. Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot more informed and maybe a little more cautious about the whole online dating scene.
I hear that.
As always, thanks for listening, everyone. Keep those brains buzzing, and we'll catch you next time.